Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we're tearing down the engine of something you've absolutely seen online, even if you didn't quite realize what it was at the time. We're talking about a highly engineered psychological playbook. We call it the Reality Contrast Script Blueprint. This is the hidden architecture behind some of the most viral, engaging content you see today, and we are going to break it down piece by piece.
Seriously, think about your timeline right now. Have you ever noticed that specific what they told you versus reality format just completely dominating your feed? You know the one. You're scrolling and suddenly someone stops you dead in your tracks by telling you that everything you know about a subject is completely wrong. It's a highly shareable narrative pattern that we see in the wild all the time. It feels spontaneous, right? Like someone just turned on their camera to drop some truth. But as we'll see today, it is anything but spontaneous.
All right, Section 1, the Reality Contrast Blueprint, or the Formula for High Shareability. Let's get into it.
So the entire engineered goal of this template is high shareability. It's built from the ground up to make you stop scrolling, watch the whole thing, and immediately send it to a friend, because it fundamentally shifts a perspective. But here's the catch. This blueprint isn't for everything. You wouldn't use this to explain, like, how to fix a leaky sink. It really dominates in three specific arenas: identity narratives, education narratives, and economic narratives. Why those three? Because those are the areas where we hold our deepest, most hardwired beliefs. When you challenge someone's identity, their education, or their money, boom, you instantly have their undivided attention.
Moving right along to Section 2, Anatomy of the Script. Time for deconstructing the machine.
We're going to look exactly at how this script is mechanically structured to keep people completely hooked from the first syllable to the very last. The architecture is super precise, it's chronological, and it basically treats human attention like a well-oiled machine. It breaks down into a rapid countdown of 5 steps, starting with step 1, the hook, hitting step 2, the contrast, accelerating into step 3, the breakdown, releasing at step 4, the payoff, and finally locking you in with step 5, the loop. Every single successful execution of this template follows this exact sequence. So let's break them down. Okay, it always begins with the hook. This is what they told you about whatever the topic is. Think about the psychology of that phrasing for a second. It immediately targets and challenges your established beliefs. And that word they is incredibly powerful here. I mean, who is they? It's society. It's your teachers. It's the system. It instantly creates this intense us versus them dynamic and promises to reveal some hidden truth that's been kept from you. And right on cue comes step 2, the contrast. But here's the reality. This exact phrase creates a sudden pivot. It introduces immediate narrative tension. I mean, you've just been told you were fed a lie in the hook. And now, right when the suspense is peaking, the script pivots to deliver the stark, unvarnished truth. This contrast is literally the hinge that the entire explainer swings on. Which brings us to step 3, the fast cut breakdown, establishing the kinetic rhythm. So this part is like a rapid fire engine. It starts with myth 1 versus reality. A widely accepted myth is countered by a hard reality. Boom, fast cut, no time to argue. You just present the contrast as absolute fact. Then right into myth 2 versus reality. The momentum builds, completely overwhelming any previous assumptions with this new, highly authoritative rhythm. The visual and auditory whiplash here, it's designed to keep you completely off balance. And the final hit, myth 3 versus reality. You know, in psychology, the rule of 3 is everything. By the time they shatter that third premise, your original belief is entirely dismantled. The rhythm has done its job perfectly. And take a breath, because that brings us to step 4, the payoff. And that's why most people stay stuck. This line resolves all that intense tension we just built up during those fast cuts. But honestly, more importantly, it validates you for sticking around. It's basically telling the viewer, hey, you are now in the know. Those other people who still believe the myths, they're stuck. But not you, because you know the reality. It is a massive psychological reward. All right, Section 3, the blueprint in action. Let's apply the theory. Let's shift from the theoretical stuff to a concrete, real-world example drawn directly from our source material. Here is our real-world hook. What they told you about success in society. Now, this is brilliant. Remember our arenas of dominance from earlier? This targets the ultimate economic and educational myth. It sets incredibly high stakes. Literally everyone wants to know about success. And let's be real, everyone feels a little bit of anxiety about whether they're doing it right. This hook just grabs you right by the collar. Now watch this climactic juxtaposition in action.
The myth, work hard, get rewarded. The reality, systems reward leverage, not effort. Just look at that contrast. It takes a fundamental, deeply ingrained societal belief, the idea that sheer effort equals success, and flips it entirely on its head with absolute authority. It's cold, it's analytical, and it's exactly the kind of phrasing that drives incredibly high engagement and fierce debate.
Finally, we reach step 5, the loop, because they believed the first version. Now pay super close attention to this mechanism. Why do they stay stuck? Because they believed the first version. What was the first version? What they told you about success. Do you see what happened there? This final line connects perfectly back to the very first line of the script. It seamlessly restarts the narrative, creating this infinite addictive cycle that naturally loops the viewer right back into the beginning. It is structurally flawless for holding human attention. We are constantly navigating a world filled with these highly engineered narratives. They're designed to challenge us, to contrast our beliefs, and to keep us watching on an endless loop. But hey, now that you can see the blueprint, you can look past the structure and actually examine the content itself. Which leaves me with a question for you to take away from this explainer today. Look at your own life, your identity, your education, your economics. What's a myth you currently believe? And what happens when you finally contrast it with reality? Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.